The rain had stopped, but the river still sang its rushing song. Little drops fell from tree leaves, making tiny splashes in the puddles below. Marcus walked slowly along the muddy riverbank, his torn sneakers making squishing sounds with every step. He was only 10 years old, but his eyes looked older, much older. Marcus pulled his thin jacket closer to his body. The jacket had 3 holes in it, and the zipper didn't work anymore. His pants were too short, showing his skinny ankles. Dirt covered his hands and face, because he hadn't had a bath in many days. He was looking for something, anything people might have thrown away. Maybe a bottle he could trade for money. Maybe some food that wasn't too old to eat. His stomach growled like an angry animal. He hadn't eaten since yesterday morning, when a kind woman at the bakery gave him half a sandwich. Marcus lived by this river, not in a house or apartment, just by the river. At night, he slept under a big tree with branches that hung down like arms trying to protect him. He used old newspapers as blankets and a cardboard box as a pillow. He had no mother, no father, no family at all. Sometimes Marcus dreamed about having a real bed with soft sheets that smelled like flowers. He dreamed about toys, maybe a ball or a toy car. He dreamed about eating dinner at a table with a plate full of warm food. But when he woke up each morning, cold and hungry, those dreams felt like stories from another world. The only friends Marcus had were the birds. They sang to him every morning. He watched them fly away to their nests, and he wondered what it felt like to have a home. Today felt different, though. The air was heavy and strange. Marcus couldn't explain it, but something in his chest felt tight, like the world was holding its breath. He bent down to pick up an empty can when he heard it. A scream, not a bird's cry, not the wind. A human scream, desperate and terrified. Help! Somebody help me. Marcus's heart started beating fast, like drums in his chest. He dropped the can and ran toward the sound. His feet slipped on the wet mud, but he didn't stop. The voice came from the river. When he reached the water's edge, he saw her. An old woman was in the river, fighting against the current. The water pulled at her like invisible hands trying to drag her under. Her gray hair was plastered to her face, and her arms splashed wildly as she tried to stay above water. "Please," she screamed again. Her voice was getting weaker. I can't swim." Marcus's mind raced. He was just a kid, a small, skinny kid who hadn't eaten properly in weeks. The river was cold and dangerous. The current was strong today because of all the rain, but the woman was drowning. She was going to die if nobody helped her. Marcus didn't think anymore. He just moved. He kicked off his torn sneakers and ran into the freezing water. The cold hit him like a punch, stealing his breath away. His body wanted to run back to shore, but he forced his legs to keep moving. "Hold on," Marcus yelled. "I'm coming." The water got deeper. It reached his knees, then his waist, then his chest. The current pushed against him, tried to knock him down. Rocks under his feet were slippery and sharp. The woman was about 10 feet away now. Her head went under the water, then came back up. She was coughing and gasping. "I'm almost there," Marcus shouted. His arms reached out, stretching as far as they could. The river pulled at him, trying to sweep him away too. His feet slipped on the muddy bottom, and for a scary second, he thought he would go under. But then his hand caught hers. Her fingers were cold as ice, but she grabbed him tight. So tight it hurt. "I've got you," Marcus said, even though he wasn't sure he did. The woman was heavy, and the river wanted to keep her. Marcus pulled with all his strength. His muscles burned. His lungs screamed for air. The water pushed against them both, angry that they were fighting back. Step by step, Marcus moved backward toward the shore. The mud sucked at his feet. The current tugged at their bodies. The woman couldn't help much. She was too tired, too scared. "Please don't let go," she whispered. Her voice was shaking. "I won't," Marcus promised. "I won't let go." His legs felt like rubber. His arms felt like they might fall off. But he kept pulling, kept moving, kept fighting. Finally, his foot touched solid ground. Then both feet. The water was only at his knees now. We're almost there, Marcus gasped. Just a little more. With one last huge pull, Marcus dragged the woman onto the muddy riverbank. They both collapsed on the ground, breathing hard, their hearts pounding like thunder. The woman coughed up water, her whole body shaking. Marcus lay on his back, staring up at the gray sky, too tired to move. They had made it. They were alive. The river kept flowing beside them, but it had lost its battle. A small, homeless boy had won against its mighty current. Marcus turned his head to look at the woman. She was looking back at him with wide eyes full of tears, not from fear anymore, but from something else, something that looked like wonder. "You," she whispered, still catching her breath. "You saved my life." Marcus didn't know what to say. He just nodded, too tired for words. The woman reached out with a trembling hand and touched his muddy cheek. Her touch was gentle, like a grandmother's. "What's your name?" she asked softly. "Marcus," he said. His voice came out small and rough. "Marcus," she repeated, like she was memorizing it. "I'm Eleanor." They lay there on the wet ground, two strangers who had just shared the scariest moment of their lives. The rain started falling again, light drops that mixed with the river water, still dripping from their clothes. Neither of them knew it yet, but everything had just changed. This moment, this brave, impossible rescue, was the beginning of something neither could imagine. Marcus had saved Eleanor's life. But soon, Eleanor would save his too. The rain fell softly around them, but neither Marcus nor Eleanor moved. They were too tired, too shocked. The cold mud underneath them should have bothered them. But right now, they were just grateful to be breathing. Eleanor sat up first, coughing a few more times. Water dripped from her expensive coat, though Marcus didn't know it was expensive. To him, it just looked like a coat, now covered in mud and river water, just like his thin jacket. "Are you okay?" Marcus asked. His teeth were chattering from the cold. Eleanor looked at him, really looked at him. She saw his torn clothes, his dirty face, his skinny arms that had somehow pulled her from a river. She saw the exhaustion in his young eyes, the kind of tired that doesn't come from one bad day, but from many, many bad days. "I'm alive because of you," she said. Her voice cracked with emotion. "You're so brave, so incredibly brave." Marcus didn't feel brave. He felt cold and tired and hungry. But something warm bloomed in his chest at her words. Nobody had ever called him brave before. Nobody had called him much of anything. Eleanor tried to stand, but her legs wobbled like jelly. Marcus quickly got up and held her arm, helping her stay steady. "There's a tree over there," Marcus said, pointing to his tree, the one where he slept every night. "We can sit under it, get out of the rain a little." Eleanor nodded, leaning on the small boy as they walked slowly across the muddy riverbank. Each step was hard. Their wet clothes felt heavy, like they were wearing blankets made of water. When they reached the big tree, Eleanor saw something that made her heart squeeze tight with sadness. Under the branches, there was a flattened cardboard box. Old newspapers were piled nearby. An empty can sat in the corner. This wasn't just a tree. This was where someone lived. Is this your spot?" Eleanor asked quietly. Marcus nodded. He didn't look embarrassed. He had stopped feeling embarrassed about his life a long time ago. This was just how things were. "I sleep here," he said simply, sitting down on the cardboard. "It's not too bad. The branches keep most of the rain off." Eleanor felt tears pushing in her eyes, but she blinked them away. She sat down carefully next to Marcus, her fancy clothes getting even dirtier. But she didn't care about her clothes anymore. "Marcus," she said gently, "where are your parents? Your family?" Marcus picked up a small stick and started drawing patterns in the mud. He was quiet for a long moment. "I don't have any," he finally said. "My mom died when I was 6. I don't remember my dad. He left before I was born. I lived with my grandma after Mom died, but she got sick 2 years ago, and—" His voice trailed off. "And then you were alone," Eleanor finished softly. Marcus nodded. "The people came and wanted to put me in a place, a home for kids with no families. But I heard other kids talking about those places. They said they were mean, that nobody cared about you there. So I ran away. I've been living by the river ever since." Eleanor's heart broke into a million pieces. This child, this beautiful, brave child, had been surviving alone for 2 years, sleeping under trees, eating whatever he could find, with nobody to hug him or tell him everything would be okay. "What do you eat?" she asked, though she was afraid of the answer. Marcus shrugged. "Sometimes people throw away food that's still good. Sometimes the bakery lady gives me bread. Sometimes I find coins on the ground and buy something. There are berries by the river in summer. I manage." Managing. A 10-year-old child was managing to survive alone. Eleanor closed her eyes. She thought about her own life, her big house with 12 bedrooms that she barely used, her 3 cars sitting in the garage, her bank account with more money than she could spend in 5 lifetimes, her dinner table where she ate alone every single night. She had everything money could buy, but she had been lonely. So lonely. Her husband had died 10 years ago. Her only daughter lived far away in another country and rarely called. Eleanor had wealth and comfort, but her days felt empty. She had been walking by the river today because she did it every day, just to feel less alone, to see other people, to remind herself she was still alive. And then she had slipped, fallen into the water, almost died alone, with nobody to miss her except maybe her lawyer and her housekeeper. But this boy, this homeless boy with nothing, had risked his life to save her. "Marcus," Eleanor said, turned to face him. "Look at me, please." Marcus looked up from his mud drawings. His eyes were dark and deep, full of things no child should have to carry. "You saved my life today," Eleanor said. "You didn't have to. You could have run away or pretended you didn't hear me. But you jumped into that freezing river and you pulled me out. Do you understand how special that makes you?" Marcus looked confused. I couldn't let you die. That wouldn't be right." "Many people would have done exactly that," Eleanor said. "Many people would have been too scared or too selfish. But not you. You have something inside you, something good and pure and rare. Your mother would be so proud of you. Your grandmother would be so proud." A tear rolled down Marcus's cheek. He wiped it away quickly, embarrassed. "I miss them," he whispered. "I miss having someone. I talk to the birds sometimes, pretending they're my family. Is that weird?" "No," Eleanor said, her own tears finally falling. "That's not weird at all. That's lonely, and I understand lonely." She reached out and took Marcus's small, muddy hand in her old, wrinkled one. "Can I tell you something?" Eleanor asked. Marcus nodded. "I live in a big house, a very big house, but it feels empty because I'm the only one there. I have nice things and plenty of food, but nobody to share it with. Today, when I was in that river, I thought, this is how I'll die, alone, with nobody to care. But then you came. You cared. You saved me." Eleanor squeezed his hand gently. "You gave me something precious today, Marcus. You gave me my life back. You gave me hope. And I want to ask you something important." Marcus's heart started beating faster. "What?" Eleanor took a deep breath. "I don't have children living with me. I don't have family nearby. And you don't have anyone either. What if we helped each other? What if you didn't have to sleep under this tree anymore?" Marcus's eyes went wide. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Eleanor chose her words carefully. She didn't want to scare him. "I mean, would you let me take care of you? Would you let me give you a warm place to sleep and food to eat? Would you let me be your family?" Marcus stared at her. His mouth opened, but no words came out. This felt like one of his dreams, the ones where he woke up and everything was still cold and hard and real. Are you serious?" he finally asked. "More serious than I've ever been about anything," Eleanor said. But you don't even know me," Marcus said. "Why would you want to help me?" Eleanor smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes for the first time in months. "Because you saved my life without knowing anything about me. Because you're brave and kind and good. Because I see something in you that reminds me that there's still beauty in this world. And because..." She paused. "Because I think maybe you were meant to find me today. Maybe we were meant to find each other. Marcus felt something strange happening in his chest. It was warm and scary, and exciting all at once. Hope. That's what it was. He had forgotten what hope felt like. I don't understand, Marcus said quietly. How can you afford to take care of me? Don't you need money for food and a house and stuff? Eleanor smiled mysteriously. Marcus, there's something I haven't told you yet. Something important. What? Marcus asked. Eleanor looked into his eyes, this brave, beautiful child who had saved her life. I'm not just a regular old woman, she said softly. I'm very rich, Marcus. Very, very rich. Marcus blinked. Rich? Like you have money? Yes, Eleanor said. More money than you can imagine. More than I could ever spend. And I don't have anyone to share it with. I don't have anyone to care for. Until now. Marcus's mind was spinning. This woman, this person he had pulled from the river, was rich? So when I say I want to take care of you, Eleanor continued, I mean really take care of you. I can give you a home, your own bedroom, clothes that fit, 3 meals every day, school, toys, everything a child should have. Tears streamed down Marcus's face now. He couldn't stop them. Why? He whispered. Why me? Eleanor pulled him close, hugging him tight despite their wet, muddy clothes. Because you matter, Marcus. Because every child deserves love and safety and a chance at a good life. Because you saved me, and now I want to save you. Will you let me? Marcus buried his face in her shoulder and cried. Big, heaving sobs that he had been holding inside for 2 years. All the fear, all the loneliness, all the nights sleeping cold under this tree. It all poured out. And Eleanor held him, crying too. 2 broken people holding each other together by the river that had almost taken one life, but instead had brought 2 lives together. Finally, Marcus pulled back and looked at her with red, puffy eyes. Yes, he said. Yes, please. I want to go with you. Eleanor smiled through her tears. Then let's go home, Marcus. Let's go home. Eleanor stood up slowly, her legs still shaky but stronger now. She held out her hand to Marcus, and he took it without hesitation. His small hand fit perfectly in hers, like 2 puzzle pieces that had finally found each other. Before we go, Eleanor said, looking around the tree, the cardboard box, the newspapers, is there anything here you want to bring with you? Marcus looked at his spot, the place that had been his whole world for 2 years. There wasn't much. Just the things he had found and kept because they were useful or because they made him feel a little less alone. He picked up a small, smooth rock he had found by the river. It was white with gray stripes, and he liked to hold in his hand at night when he was scared. Just this, Marcus said, slipping the rock into his pocket. Eleanor nodded, understanding that sometimes the smallest things mean the most. They started walking away from the river together. Marcus looked back once at the tree, and something strange happened in his heart. He wasn't sad to leave it. He was grateful. That tree had protected him when he had nothing else, and now it could rest. My car is parked near the walking path, Eleanor said. It's about a 10-minute walk from here. Can you make it? Yes, Marcus said. He would have walked for 10 hours if it meant getting away from the cold riverbank. As they walked, people they passed stared at them. 2 people completely covered in mud and river water, holding hands. One a small black boy in torn clothes, the other an elderly white woman in a ruined, expensive coat. They looked like they had survived a war together. And, in a way, they had. When they reached Eleanor's car, Marcus stopped walking. His mouth fell open. The car was shiny and black and bigger than any car he had ever seen up close. It looked like the cars he sometimes saw on TV through store windows, the kind that rich people in movies drove. This is yours, Marcus whispered. Eleanor smiled. Yes, come on, let's get you warm. She opened the back door for him, but Marcus hesitated. I'm all muddy, he said. I'll make your car dirty. Eleanor's heart squeezed again. This child, who had nothing, was worried about getting her car dirty. Marcus, she said gently, you are more important than any car. Besides, cars can be cleaned. Get in, sweetheart. Sweetheart. Nobody had called him that in 2 years. Marcus climbed into the back seat. The seats were soft, softer than anything he had ever sat on. The car was warm inside, and it smelled clean and new. Eleanor got in the driver's seat and started the car. Soft music began playing, something peaceful and calm. "Are you comfortable?" Eleanor asked, looking at him in the rear-view mirror. Marcus nodded, too amazed to speak. He touched the soft seat with his muddy fingers, hardly believing this was real. If you're enjoying Marcus and Eleanor's incredible journey, please hit that like button and subscribe for more heartwarming stories that will touch your soul. Your support means the world. As they drove through the city, Marcus pressed his face against the window. He watched the buildings go by, the people walking on sidewalks, the stores with bright lights. They drove for about 20 minutes, and Marcus noticed the buildings getting bigger and fancier. Then Eleanor turned down a long driveway lined with tall trees. At the end of the driveway was a house. No, not a house. A mansion. Marcus had never seen anything like it except in movies. It was huge, with white walls and big windows that sparkled in the afternoon light. There was a fountain in front, and gardens with flowers everywhere. "You live here?" Marcus asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Yes," Eleanor said. "And now you do, too." She parked the car and came around to open Marcus's door. He stepped out slowly, staring up at the massive house. His whole tree could have fit in just one corner of this place. Eleanor saw his shocked face and remembered something important. "Marcus, I need to tell you the truth about who I am," she said. "My full name is Eleanor Hartford. Have you heard that name before?" Marcus shook his head. "My husband, before he died, owned many companies. When he passed away, everything became mine. I own hotels, restaurants, buildings. I have more money than I know what to do with." Eleanor knelt down so she could look Marcus in the eyes. "And I want you to know that none of that matters as much as what happened today. You didn't save me because of my money. You saved me because you have a good heart. That's why I want to help you, not because I'm rich, but because you deserve to be helped." Marcus nodded slowly. It was a lot to understand, but he heard the most important part. She cared about him for who he was, not for what he could give her. "Come," Eleanor said, taking his hand again. "Let me show you your new home." They walked up the stone steps to the front door. Eleanor opened it, and Marcus stepped inside. The entrance was bigger than his whole tree area. There was a huge staircase, shiny floors, and a giant light hanging from the ceiling that sparkled like stars. A woman in a uniform rushed toward them, her eyes going wide when she saw how muddy and wet they were. "Mrs. Hartford," the woman exclaimed. "What happened? Are you hurt?" "I'm fine, Maria," Eleanor said calmly. "I fell in the river, and this brave young man saved my life. Maria, this is Marcus. He'll be living with us now." Maria looked shocked, but quickly smiled at Marcus. "Welcome, Marcus. Let me get you both some towels and warm clothes." "Thank you, Maria," Eleanor said. "And please prepare the blue bedroom for Marcus. He'll need everything, clothes, toiletries, everything a child needs." "Right away, Mrs. Hartford," Maria said, hurrying off. Eleanor led Marcus up the staircase. His muddy footprints marked each step, but Eleanor didn't care. "First, let's get you cleaned up," she said. "Then I'll show you your room." She took him to a bathroom that was bigger than some stores Marcus had seen. There was a huge bathtub, fluffy white towels, and bottles of soap that smelled like flowers and mint. "I'll wait outside," Eleanor said. "Take as long as you want. Use all the hot water you need. There are clean towels here, and I'll have Maria bring you some clothes." After Eleanor left, Marcus just stood there for a moment, staring at the bathroom. He turned on the bathtub faucet, and hot water poured out, as much as he wanted, whenever he wanted it. He remembered all the times he had been so cold, wishing for just a little warm water. Now, he had all the warm water in the world. Marcus took off his dirty, torn clothes and climbed into the tub. The hot water felt like magic on his cold skin. He watched the dirt wash off his body, turning the water brown. He scrubbed and scrubbed until his skin felt clean for the first time in months. When he finally got out, he felt like a different person. Maria had left him new clothes, soft pants, a warm sweater, and socks that didn't have holes. They fit perfectly, like they had been made just for him. Eleanor was waiting in the hallway when he came out. She had changed into clean, dry clothes, too. "You look wonderful," she said, smiling. "Come, let me show you your room." She led him down the hall and opened the door. Marcus walked inside and froze. The room was huge. There was a big bed with a blue blanket that looked soft as clouds. There were shelves with books, a desk by the window, a closet, and even some toys, a basketball, some action figures, and a puzzle. This is all for me?" Marcus asked. "All for you," Eleanor confirmed. "Maria will take you shopping tomorrow for more clothes and anything else you want. You can decorate this room however you like. This is your room, Marcus. Your space. Your home." Marcus walked to the bed and touched it. It was the softest thing he had ever felt. He sat down on it, and it was like sitting on a cloud. Then something inside him broke open. All the fear and sadness and loneliness that he had carried for 2 years. He started crying again, but this time they were different tears. These were tears of relief, of hope, of happiness. Eleanor sat next to him on the bed and put her arm around his shoulders. "It's okay to cry," she said softly. "You've been so brave for so long. You don't have to be brave alone anymore. I'm here now. I'm going to take care of you." "Why?" Marcus sobbed. "Why are you so nice to me?" Eleanor thought about her answer carefully. "Because today you taught me something important," she said. "I've been living in this big house, surrounded by expensive things, but I felt empty inside. I felt like my life didn't matter anymore. But then you, a child with nothing, risked everything to save me. You showed me that real wealth isn't money. It's kindness. It's courage. It's love. You gave me the greatest gift anyone could give. You gave me a reason to care again." She hugged him tighter. "You saved my life in that river, Marcus, but you also saved my heart. You reminded me what it means to be alive. So let me give you what you deserve: safety, love, and a future. Let me be your family." Marcus hugged her back with all his strength. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." They sat there together as the sun began to set outside the window, painting the sky in colors of orange and pink and purple. Downstairs, Maria was preparing dinner. A real dinner with warm food and vegetables and dessert. There would be enough for everyone, with plenty left over. Tomorrow, Eleanor would enroll Marcus in the best school. She would buy him clothes and books and toys. She would take him to doctors to make sure he was healthy. She would give him everything a child should have. But most importantly, she would give him love. And Marcus would give her something she hadn't had in 10 years. Someone to care for, someone to love, someone to call family. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our uplifting stories about kindness, hope, and second chances. The river had tried to take Eleanor's life that day. Instead, it had brought 2 lonely people together. A homeless boy with nothing but a brave heart, and a wealthy woman with everything except someone to love. Together, they had saved each other. And together, they would build a new life, one filled with warmth, laughter, safety, and belonging. Marcus fell asleep that night in his new bed, under his new blanket, in his new room. And for the first time in 2 years, he didn't dream of having a home, because he was already there. Eleanor stood in the doorway of his room, watching him sleep peacefully. She thought about how one moment, one brave, beautiful moment, had changed everything. She whispered into the quiet room, "Sleep well, my dear boy. You're safe now. You're home." And somewhere by the river, under the big tree where Marcus used to sleep, the birds sang their evening song, a song of endings and beginnings, of loneliness that had transformed into love. The river kept flowing, as it always would. But the boy who once lived beside it was gone. He had found something better. He had found home. Thank you so much for reading Marcus and Eleanor's beautiful story. If you love this journey of hope and transformation, please like this video, share it with friends and family, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that will warm your heart. Ring that bell for notifications. Your support helps us bring more amazing stories to life. What did you think of Marcus and Eleanor's story? Let us know in the comments below.